An ending can be hard to write. It can either make or break a story. But here I have two examples to talk about, with one clearly better than the other, and by the end of this video, I think you might agree with me. In this video, I'll be talking about Telltale's The Walking Dead Season 1 and Batman Arkham Knight. Both games have endings where the hero essentially loses. One was written by Sean Vanaman, a talented writer that would go on to write other video games like Firewatch and Half-Life Alyx. The other was written by some pretentious hack that would go on to write Kill the Justice League. Let's get the bad one out of the way first. Batman Arkham Knight is a fun game, but nothing more. The story sucks because it's an absolute idiot plot from beginning to end. Don't believe me? Here's some multiple examples. Why does it take hijacking two antennas for Batman, aka the world's greatest detective, to find out that Scarecrow is using Ace chemicals to make his toxin, even though the smokestacks are producing a shitload of smoke in this evacuated city? Why doesn't Batman decrypt the Arkham Knight's voice filter to find out that he's Jason Early? Later, he can perfectly mimic other characters with the voice synthesizer, so what the fuck is stopping him? If the Arkham Knight wants Batman dead as soon as possible,
Scarecrow can choke on his toxin, Batman. He wants you to suffer. I just want you dead.
then why doesn't he just kill him when he has him pinned to the floor with a bullet in his guts?
You're good, Dark Knight. Even better than I remember. It's gonna make it even more satisfying when I kill you.
How the fuck did Nightwing, a professional crime fighter who was trained by Batman, get captured by the Penguin of all villains? Why doesn't Batman instantly incapacitate or subdue Scarecrow, but instead tells the person who's in a fucking wheelchair to run?
Have you found him?
Get out of there. Now.
Relax. No one knows I'm here. Idiot!
And you know what, I'm just gonna stop here. If I keep going, we're gonna be here until like GTA 6 comes out. If you want more details on why the story sucks, go watch Godzilla Mendoza's video on Batman Arkham Knight. But for now, I'm here to talk about the ending. To recap, at the end of the game, Scarecrow has kidnapped Jim Gordon and Robin. And Batman's idea of getting them back is not by putting up a fight like every other point in the game, but to give himself up and willingly become his hostage. Okay, listen, I'm not one of those guys that hypes up Batman like he's one of the most powerful characters in fiction, because he's not. Like, there's plenty of fictional characters, especially from the Marvel universe, that I can buy kicking his ass. But I feel like he can definitely handle one guy with two hostages. Like, this seems wildly out of character for Batman. But you know what, Batman might have a hard time tracking them down. Like, it's not like he can easily track their location, right?
Alfred, I need you to use Nightwing's tracker and isolate his location for me.
Wait, he can track Nightwing's location but not Robin's? What the fuck? Why would he have a tracker for Nightwing but not Robin? Why am I even asking? The answer's clearly bad writing. Also, just to remind you all that the reason Robin got kidnapped in the first place is because Batman locked him in a cell earlier in the story. First off, what a way to make us root for Batman here, guys, by making him pull a dick move like this. This game has a real problem with making Batman morally gray for cheap melodrama. Like it's trying to make him the next Joel from The Last of Us, but it doesn't understand what made Joel so well written in the first place. Secondly, if Batman was going to put Robin in a cell, why doesn't he do a better job fortifying the movie studios? The place was already broken into earlier. In fact, the game has unique dialogue if you go check up on Robin after Jim gets kidnapped, who, by the way, has voice access to the movie studios.
I found Barbara. She's fine.
All he had to do was revoke Jim's voice access, but no, collecting the Riddler trophies are more important than ensuring Tim's safety. Third, what the fuck did Tim do to his barber to deserve that haircut? Back to the ending. Batman goes to the shady warehouse and Scarecrow tells him to leave his utility belt behind like he's nothing without it. Even though he spent years being trained by ninjas, magicians, and spiritual gurus. But for this ending to work, we have to completely devalue Batman as a superhero by making him look like he's nothing without his fancy belt. Then he gets into this regular ass truck because Scarecrow told him to, like a chump. which drives him to Arkham Asylum because poetry, I guess. Then once the doors open, instead of immediately attacking Scarecrow, he just willingly lets himself get strapped to a gurney. Like, the fuck is this shit? And I don't want to hear anyone say anything about armed guards, because where the fuck are they? They're nowhere to be seen. Were the animators too lazy to add some background henchmen? Did they have to focus more development time on the pointless DLC chapters? In fact, I argue Nightwing and Lucius were in more danger when they got kidnapped, and Batman goes in fighting to save them. Jim and Tim are just standing there with no one watching them. Need I remind you, Batman in this game can do this. This ending completely tosses aside gameplay in order for it to work. This outcome happens regardless, even if you've done all the side quests where you take out all the militia outposts and most of Batman's villains.
So this is the end. No bones left to break, no heads left to crack.
Life is Strange 1 had less plot holes than this game. Scarecrow then forces Jim to take Batman's mask off for the whole world to see via a live broadcast.
My name is Walter Hartwell White. I live at 308 Negra Arroyo Lane, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87104.
Afterwards, Scarecrow injects Batman with his fear toxin, and then we get a nightmare sequence where the Joker takes over. I forgot to mention the Joker is inside Batman's head because of some poorly thought out convoluted shit. Again, Mendoza's video. Eventually, the nightmare results in the Joker being hunted down by Batman. Because Scarecrow injects him with the toxin, even though he is a creation of said toxin, it's just so poorly done. Although, this is a good idea. Having the player be subjected to the fear that they were striking into enemies throughout the whole game. Surely they can't fuck this up. What the fuck is this shit? Instead of doing a Predator section from the enemy's perspective, Rocksteady decides to rip off the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who. They had the blueprint for a great idea, but instead of doing it, they result to stealing another. This is literally something David Cage would do.
Bingo! Oh my god! Oh my god! You know what this is?
It's a bingo.
This is the microwave hallway!
It's the microwave hallway.
Oh my god! It's the microwave hallway, you fuck! You shitty hacky fuck! He stole one of the best parts of Metal Gear! Oh my god!
I can't believe I'm saying this, but Kill the Justice League did this idea better. Okay, if I were to compliment anything about this ending, is that this ending section does horror effectively well. I mean, it's a blatant copy of PT, but I'm trying to think of something positive, damn it. Later, Batman comes and metaphorically locks the Joker away, in a way similar to a scene from Arkham Asylum. Okay, this whole it's like poetry it rhymes thing can only get you so far. I can appreciate it when it's done well and it feels earned, but in moments like this it just seems like blatant laziness. And also, while this is happening, where the hell are Catwoman and Nightwing? Why aren't they doing anything to stop Batman's unmasking? They never show up, even if you've done Nightwing side quests and freed Catwoman from Riddler. But you know what, they're probably having a hard time finding him. It's not like they can track his location, right?
Nightwing, make your way to my location now.
Croc?
He's got the warden.
I'm on the way.
Need a little help?
Wait, so Nightwing can easily track down Batman's location but doesn't do it now for some reason? Again, why am I asking? Instead, we get Jason briefly showing up, then vanishing. Like, what was the point of his inclusion there? It didn't make any sense. Again, Mendoza's video. Then Batman finally decides to take down Scarecrow in a pretty lazy and anticlimactic way. 1, it's done in a cutscene as opposed to gameplay. 2, Scarecrow's fear of bats just comes out of nowhere. 3, I find it hard to believe that Scarecrow wouldn't make a countermeasure so he couldn't get infected by his own drug. And 4, the final blow doesn't even come from Batman. It comes from Old Man Jim. He could have done that at any time if it was that easy.
He's strong. He's going to be okay.
Also, side tangent here, but Jonathan Banks feels wasted as Jim Gordon, because his acting here is not very good, I'm sad to say.
You bastard!
I can't tell if it's bad voice direction or Jonathan Banks is phoning it in because he shares the same opinions about the writing as I do. But he's a great actor! Go watch Better Call Saul if you don't believe me.
Somebody stop the fucking dogs! Stop the fucking dogs!
Then Batman just leaves without having a word with Robin, even though it's his fault that he got kidnapped in the first place. I might as well talk about what happens in the Nightfall epilogue. Batman then fakes his death by blowing up Wayne Manor with Alfred still in it, presumably, so that he can become a darker vigilante from the shadows by using Scarecrow's fear toxin, which I feel like is out of character and very hypocritical of Batman. He's a man who's committed to justice. Why is he using his villain's tactics? God, what a mess. I'm not joking when I say I would rather have another generic big monster boss fight than this pretentious shit. Like, this is the kind of shit that people that hate the Nolan trilogy say the Nolan trilogy is. Now I want to talk about the rebuttals that I hear when people defend this game's story. And that's apparently Batman is no longer scary to criminals. Since when? The story never focuses on this. I hear people say the militia are proof of this with their high tech and military experience, but in gameplay they act the same as ordinary thugs. The only difference is that they have fancy equipment and knockoff stormtrooper getup. They could have made the militia a lot more intelligent, ruthless, cunning, and brutal, but instead they come across as lame comic relief.
You, think I pissed him off? I don't know, maybe. Ask him. Batman? You know I was joking, right? About the whole list thing? I mean, we really can't let you in here, but, you know, we're just doing our job.
Even after Batman's identity gets revealed to the world, the militia are still scared of him in gameplay.
That mask off was a big mistake. Now you're just a man, Bruce. You can't scare anyone anymore.
Batman talking about how his crusade is supposedly not working anymore is just nothing but cheap melodrama to trick the audience to thinking that the story is deeper than it actually is. The 90s animated series episode I Am the Night did this topic better, and that was a 20-minute episode. This is a 20-hour game! Another thing that people say is that all his close allies keep getting kidnapped. Well, for one, none of them end up dying, so it feels like there's nothing really at stake here. Not to say I would have preferred them dying. In fact, I would have hated the plot more if Barbara's death wasn't a fake out. I'm just saying that they shouldn't have focused on this topic if they weren't going to do anything interesting with it. And two, half of them feel contrived, especially Nightwing. I refuse to let it slide! This topic was done better in Batman the Enemy Within, for reasons I will not spoil. If you want to write a story where Batman's crusade is no longer working, how about you actually focus on it instead of the boring Simon Stagg stuff, or Poison Ivy's forced redemption, or the stupid Joker infected? In summary, Batman Arkham Knight's story is what happens when you prioritize spectacle over logic. Alright, I want to move over to The Walking Dead now. I would talk about ideas to improve Arkham Knight's ending, but I would have to drastically change the entire story. So instead, I'll recommend the 4 Snakes Wasted Potential video on Arkham Knight. He came up with some pretty good ideas on improving Arkham Knight's narrative. All in all, if you like Arkham Knight's story for what it is, that's fine. But if you leave a Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix length comment about how I'm supposedly too stupid to understand Arkham Knight's narrative, I will not read it, just to spite you. Now let's talk about the good story. I chose Telltale's The Walking Dead because it has a lot in common with Arkham Knight's ending. Both has a villain who holds a loved one hostage. Both has the main character on their own for the most part. And both, like the title of this video says, ultimately ends with the main character losing in one way or another. To recap, Clementine has been kidnapped by a man that she's been talking to on her radio, and Lee manages to track him down and is forced to comply with the stranger. Let's start with the stakes that each ending presents. I previously stated Batman giving himself up to Scarecrow made no sense, because he previously overcame much bigger obstacles. Lee Everett, on the other hand, I do buy, because he's not some ultra-powerful superhero, he's just an average guy. While Batman has plenty of allies that could have intervened and helped him, but didn't, Lee has no one left, because all of his allies have either died, left, or got separated, which adds a feeling of isolation to this moment. And Lee is in a more vulnerable position because earlier he got bitten by a zombie and is slowly dying.
No.
Now let's talk about the antagonists. Scarecrow in Arkham Knight is just a generic monologue-spewing villain with none of the sauce of his Arkham Asylum counterpart. Meanwhile, the Stranger, or Jack as I like to call him, has a lot more depth and complexity. He's another survivor in the zombie apocalypse who lost his son during a hunting lesson, and then his wife and daughter died shortly after they left him after he failed to protect their food from Lee's group.
Baby, you gotta see this. It's a shitload of food and supplies back here.
At the time, Lee's group was at their lowest point, just barely surviving a family of crazy cannibals. So when they come across this presumably abandoned food, most of them don't hesitate to take it all.
Okay, what have we got in here?
Look, there's more food in that box.
They have antibiotics. What else do they have?
Any electronics? Radios? Batteries?
Here.
He eventually gets into contact with Clementine through her walkie-talkie, and he lies about knowing where Clem's parents are just so he can kidnap her and force her to be his new daughter.
What the?
Can't wait for you to get to Savannah, Clementine. I got your parents right here, and you be sure to find me whether Lee wants you to or not. Now, what I need...
The game establishes plenty of times that she's desperate to find them.
What if my parents come home and I'm not there?
I don't think they will. They want you to be safe. We'll find them if we can.
I've got my walkie-talkie in case they try that way.
Clem was also telling Jack about all the events that happened in the game, and he paints Lee as this horrible monster to justify what he's doing. There are people who have a problem with Jack's hatred of Lee, especially those who chose not to steal from the car. But of course he was going to be jealous of Lee and paint him in a negative light. Jack was an average family man who tried and failed to protect his family. And then he hears about a man who was a convicted murderer somehow doing a better job than he ever did protecting a kid he just stumbled across. Jack is also a dark reflection or literal reflection of Lee, depending on the player's choices. And moments like this is when I feel choice-based decision games are at their peak. It's when they have scenes where there's a lot of unique ways for a player to experience it, depending on past actions. If the player made more selfless choices, I can see them calling out Jack's bullshit and feeling more determined to save Clementine from him. Or if you're like me and turned Lee into the next Walter White, then maybe you think you're just as bad as Jack. Or just double down on that behavior. There's so many ways to experience this moment. Take for example when Jack lists off the player's previous choices. The player can either defend, justify, or regret said actions.
You killed a man with a pitchfork right in front of a little girl.
I would do it differently if I could.
You abandoned a defenseless, grieving woman.
I wouldn't do that again either.
The sweatshirt she's wearing was my boy's. You stole that from us.
I fucked up.
In Arkham Knight, Batman just acts like a jackass for the sake of conflict and again, cheap melodrama. Meanwhile, the choices the player can make as Lee in The Walking Dead has more form of reason / justification behind each one. Well, to be fair, maybe apart from the options where you have Lee blindly side with Lily.
Lily's right. This group needs someone to be a leader or we're all gonna fall apart. We can't keep fighting amongst ourselves.
Great. Way to take sides, Lee.
Before we move on, there's one more bit of dialogue from the scene that I feel like is worth mentioning. And that's Lee mentioning his wife to Jack. And it's a shame that this bit of dialogue can easily be missed, because it adds a lot more to Lee's backstory.
I was mad at her for so long, and I can't imagine how much pain she felt.
Eventually, Clementine gets free and helps Lee take Jack down in a fight that can either end in Lee or Clementine killing him.
Son of a bitch! Just go away! Die!
With Robin and Gordon, they just stood around doing nothing, which makes them more like MacGuffins instead of living, breathing characters. While Clementine actually has some agency in this scene, especially if she's the one that kills Jack. It also gives her some closure, for Lee calls back to a previous scene where Clem hesitated to shoot some zombies.
What did we learn?
I'm not ready for a gun.
We learned not to be afraid. They should have got us. But we got them.
Yeah, you're right.
Fear is the thing that will kill us. You understand? Hey. You weren't afraid.
I was.
You didn't act like it.
I know. I am now.
It's okay.
And unlike Arkham Knight's ending, these callbacks actually feel earned, for they had natural progression behind them. You know what, to be fair, since I found a compliment in Arkham Knight's ending, I might as well talk about a criticism that I have with The Walking Dead's ending. And it's the sloppy closure of Clem's undead parents abruptly showing up. I guess to show that after Lee dies, Clem has no one left. But revealing that they're dead like this and quickly moving on just goes to show that Clem's parents were a complete afterthought. Especially since Clem rarely mentions them in future games. The story does start to pick up again when Lee succumbs to the bite. Emotional damage warning coming up.
What happened? No, that's not... No!
Yes, Clem, it is.
Lee's health starts to deteriorate so badly he can't even walk anymore.
Oh, sorry.
Get up, Lee! The door is right here!
I can't.
You have to!
Them, I can't move. This is it for me here.
Please, try to get up!
I can't.
Lee doesn't give up because some bargain bin Skeletor told him to. There's legit nothing he can do other than give Clem some final advice.
Like what?
You need to get out of here as soon as you can.
I can't leave you!
Just work on getting out, okay?
Eventually, the player is given the choice to either tell Clem to shoot Lee or leave him. And just like the Jack scene from before, there are a lot of different ways to experience this ending depending on the player's past actions. For example, my version of Lee was a man who would do anything to keep his group safe by any means necessary. But I didn't want Clementine to go down the same path, so I made sure to keep her on the straight and narrow. And it all comes together in this moment.
You could leave me. It's okay.
You'll be just like them.
It's okay. It won't be me.
Lee!
Clem, it's time to go. You gotta get out of here.
You can come with me.
No, honey. I can't. It's okay.
Please.
You have to go. Now.
Maybe I shouldn't let you turn.
I don't want you to have to do that. Shooting things. It changes you, sweetie. I don't want you to get used to it. You had to shoot that man before, Clem. I don't want you getting used to it. Do you understand?
Yeah, Lee, I do.
Only do it when you absolutely have to. Otherwise...
God, how am I this deep in the video and I haven't even mentioned Dave Vinoy or Militia Hudson? They absolutely kill it as Lee and Clementine, especially in this final scene.
Don't be afraid.
Don't go.
This moment really hits hard because the story got me invested in the father-daughter relationship that Lee and Clementine had. Not to say that Sean Vanneman is perfect, he does has his fair share of controversies. But credit where credit's due, he knows how to write character bonds and character dynamics. And he carried that over into his later work. Meanwhile, the Arkham Knight writers only know how to write spectacle and that's it. They certainly don't know how to write a cohesive narrative, because every time I think about Arkham Knight's story, I find more plot holes and inconsistencies. While with Telltale's The Walking Dead, I find more details and aspects to admire. I feel like it's important for a writer to know their strengths and weaknesses, especially when it comes to an ending where the hero loses. Not to mention Lee goes out more like a badass.